where he could be himself, and we all appreciated it.
And everyone secretly felt it for him. We're like, yeah, been there, buddy.
Yep. I know. I just love how he just totally loses it. It's hilarious. It's wonderful.
I like how his hair is trying to escape his forehead in that clip.
It has that hair escaped his forehead yet? It's been trying for a couple of decades now.
It's gotta be.
I've only seen him in clips because he's such a douchebag. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
Like I can't.
No.
But yeah, he is. I think he's kind of a step above Gay Frogs man. How was his name? Alex
Jones.
Do not use his name. Do not give him any attention.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why I was Gay Frogs man. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah. Are you guys?
But
are you guys aware? I mean, not to give Alex Jones any credence at all, but this is great because we just basically have a white screen here. But what, Glenn?
No, you just can't say it 3 times. You don't say it 3 times, so you summon him
in a row.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right. So, but have you ever seen that video where somebody freezes an Alex Jones video and says, "Look at that in the background. Alex Jones is a fucking electronic music producer. He's got like an 808 drum machine. He's got like all this gear behind him. And you only see it when the camera pans across the room, and then it lands on him where the camera almost always is, and it's just never on that other part of the room. And like for some reason he had to pan the camera, and you catch all this gear, and this dude freeze framed the video and says, "That's like a Matrix, whatever. That's a Roland something."
Glitch to the Matrix, yeah.
Yeah, right, the Matrix. But it was
somebody
all
digs into it, and you find out it's his kid's room.
Right. Yeah. Right. That makes the whole thing even more perverse because like he's doing this horrible thing in his kid's room.
Right, and there's no way he is smart enough for there's no way.
I hate to tell you this, Mike, but electronic music does not take intelligence. Ever listen to EDM?
Intelligent music.
Ever listen?
All right.
Ever listen to Gabber?
Granted.
Unless it's intelligent dance music, IDM. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You just actually reminded me. I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole the other day having to do with math metal. I don't know if you know this genre.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, those two things cross over so much.
There was a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, there's a guitar player that has his own channel, and he was like, "I need to learn this new craze math metal," and I was like, "New craze?" I'm like, I'm looking over my Voivod album from 1989.
Exactly.
like, where have you been?
Yeah, Voivod's awesome.
There's 2 of them. There's a band called Polyphia, and there's one called Chon, and the kids are like 18 to 22, and if you watch them play, you either want to do much better at what you try to play or burn your instruments.
Yeah, right.
Because you're just like, there's no way.
I hate
They're
that.
Incredible.
That's like a daily
incredible
situation for me watching YouTube videos with young people making music, because they've got the best teacher in the world right now. Okay, like hopefully they have an in-person teacher as well, but they have the advantage of going to YouTube and checking the same material against like 5 or 6, 8, 10,000 different sources, and it's amazing. Like this morning I was like foolishly thinking I would have enough time to prepare a song for performance tonight, which I didn't, but I tried. I spent about an hour trying to do a cover of a song by Wire. I don't know if you guys know Wire. They were a punk band, English punk band. And they've got this one track that's, most of their stuff is guitar, bass, drums, and vocals, right? But they've got this one record that's very kind of Pink Floyd influenced for a punk band. That's pretty weird, but it's great. And I've always wanted to cover this track. Glenn, you might know The 15th. Have you heard that track? No? Glenn went away. He's left us for good.
I don't really know a whole lot of... All right, I don't know any of The Wire.
Okay. I'm not talking about the TV show. I'm talking about the band.
Fine.
Okay.
You said I left. What's wrong?
Yeah. You're all stretchy, though.
Yeah,
you're all like time stretched out and shit.
Maybe
that's
bullshit.
I think that might be on yours.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's you.
Well, I'm connected. I'm Ethernet connected now, dude. So it should be
Well,
good.
you can also, if you're having like an issue, literally just leave and come back really quick. that sometimes just resets.
I mean,
it.
you guys are fine. It's just Glenn sounds weird. But anyway,
Well,
You
where's
know,
Glenn
this is the
compared to
second
you?
week in a row that
Yeah.
I think you're fucking with me.
there. Now, see, now you sound fine. When you curse, it's good.
Yeah.
So just keep
Oh,
cursing.
I just have to curse.
Yeah, just keep
You
cursing.
just gotta add
Yeah.
that. Little, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You can-
shit.
The pixies in the wires, they don't know how to do it if you don't fuel them with fury and swearing.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's gone. Back he is.
He's resetting.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't. Long story short, I didn't have time to do the wire cover, but I kind of sat down and started trying to do it, and realized I don't know why I got on this. You were talking about math metal. I don't know where.
Yeah, and then talking about young kids. But like,
Young
have
kids,
you guys
right.
heard of Yo-Yo?
Oh yeah. So I went to look for a tutorial on the guitar part for this song, and I searched "Wire the 15th guitar tutorial" on YouTube, and there's this one up there, and it's a dude playing basically kind of country / bluegrass guitar, a country / bluegrass version of this really electronic sounding guitar, bass, and drums track. So it's really like, like high, I don't know, post-punk, I guess I would say. But basically done like he was a dude on the bayou or something. And it's amazing. It sounds so cool because it's a really simple song. So you can translate it to anything. So I just thought that was awesome. And like, it actually gave me some insight into the song. It's like it can be, I never realized it was that simple. It can really be translated into anything. You could do any version of it. So that was kind of cool.
The simpler ones are like that.
Yeah. I'm sitting here just like looking at nothing, so I'm going to actually look at things. Oh, actually, I forgot.
Look up.
This map is actually
every
musical.
Time,
Yeah, go ahead, Clayton.
there we go. Every time I listen to, and this is probably fairly cliched, but I just dropped the damn name of the album. Close to the Edge.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
No pun
and
intended.
the massive deluxe. And I just want to cut my fingers off because I'm like, this, you'll never do that. You're not worthy.
Yeah.
There's no. Holy shit, those guys are just mind-blowingly talented.
Yeah.
I saw them live.
This
I've
is
seen
great.
Yes live.
We've got a room full of Yes fans. This is awesome because Glenn and I are both
yeah.
huge Yes fans. I know that for a fact.
This is the first week where you've actually been talking about something in my wheelhouse.
Go, Glenn. Just take it. Go for it, man. Glenn could talk
Tell
for
me you
like
got
2
to-
hours.
Tell me you got to see him live, Glenn.
He did.
I saw them on their 35th anniversary tour.
That might have been the same. What year was that?
I think it was 2004. It was John, Rick, Chris, Steve, and Alan.
I think I saw them in '97. So it might have been Chris Squire along with who's the guy that took over the guitar during 90210?
Oh, Alan Rabin?
Trevor Rabin.
Trevor Rabin.
Trevor Rabin. Yeah. Yep. I think I saw him with that.
They're that lineup last toured in like '94.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was then the original guys were back then, so it was like '97. I just remember Chris was super drunk and still playing bass like a master and doing the whole, like, every time he had his hand free, he'd do the devil sign and stick his tongue out and bang his head. And,
Jesus.
yeah, he was wasted, man. He was
Wow. The fish.
I know, it was weird.
I saw.
Oh, that
Yeah.
song. Oh,
I
my
saw.
God.
I saw Yes about I think 3 times, but it was all of the times were a long time ago. The last show I saw was Going for the One. The first show I saw was Yes songs, so it was after Close to the Edge, but before Topographic Oceans. And then I saw them somewhere
like
in between.
74 to 77.
Yeah, so it was not the original lineup, but the the main classic lineup: Howe, Wakeman, Bruford, Anderson, and Squire, and that was awesome. They were amazing, and
that's the lineup I saw.
Yeah.
They were even in 2004. They were still like not a single note missed.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're-
Playing it for so long.
yeah, and they're just really good musicians. Those guys are just really, it's fun. It's fun. It's good. In a way, I appreciate it the most amongst all the prog bands I love because I can make fun of them more than most. Like King Crimson, still are relevant.
They make it so easy.
King Crimson are awesome. They're still relevant, right? But Yes are kind of in like a time capsule, you know? Like the John Anderson lyrics are so 1975, you know? It's like,
Of course. Yeah.
Glenn, give us some John Anderson. Come on, quick, quote it. Let's hear it.
Actually, before I even try to do that, John Anderson did a collaboration with Battles, who are like a very math rock band,
right?
And that they also did a collaboration with Gary Newman. So they're like a lot of the songs that they have featuring insert name of icon are pretty cool. And the one with John Anderson is, of course, fucking weird, but it's great.
Okay, I'll give you one.
So much. I love this shit. Like I've got now 4 different like Chrome pages on here with just tab after tab after tab of things to look up later.
Yeah. Well, you know, Close to the Edge, which is their best record. I mean, hands down. I mean, I like a lot of their stuff, but Close to the Edge, most people I know cite that, or maybe Fragile, or maybe I don't know.
Fragile with my
Yes album.
Yeah, Yes
I don't
album.
think there's a prog. I don't think there's a prog album that rocks harder than the Yes album.
Yeah,
that
it's awesome.
organ that sounds like it's just gonna crush your head.
Yeah, the organ, Tony Kaye, yeah. And Rick Wakeman, and Hal just really ripping into that ES 175, like just playing like just kind of Carl Perkins meets, I don't know, a spaceman, you know, like it's crazy. Like it sounds very American. Like his guitar playing sounds super kind of like he must have learned a lot of I guess country western and bluegrass in his training.
Yeah, listen to the clap.
Yeah, the clap, exactly. So you know from that, but okay. So favorite Yes track, anybody?
Oh my God.
See,
are you kidding me? Really?
Can I cheat and just be like Close to the Edge?
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, exactly. That's not cheating.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah, I mean that's probably my favorite if I had to name a chunk of music that they did. But I often, when I say favorite track, I often think of their cover of America. Do you know that by the Simon and Garfunkel track?
Yeah.
It's really good. It's from that era. It's from the Close to the Edge era, and it's just it's amazing. It's like it's an excuse for Steve Howe to show off all that he knows about American guitar playing. You know, in that middle section, he's got all that really. You know,
I had a conversation. I had a conversation with Joey, and Chris knows who Joey is.
Yeah.
About what might be my favorite guitar solo of all time, which is Steve Howe's solo on Sound Chaser.
Oh yeah, that's unbelievable.
Where first of all, he's like all over the place and playing some pretty complicated stuff, but he's not playing it perfect. And that's one of the things that I really, really like about it. I think that solos are more interesting when you can hear that the musician is like pushing their skills to the absolute brink of what they can do, rather than just like bang out some incredibly technical but still very boring solo that is perfectly quantized, or even sounds like it's quantized,
right?
It's still played that way live.
Yeah, super edited
and
in Pro Tools.
It's just great.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that drives me a little bit crazy about hardcore metal.
Yeah,
is that you'll get some people who just have insane, like finger blistering skill, but I can't listen to it. I'm like, what?
It has no soul. That's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of Rick Wakeman. I think I like Jeff Downes a whole lot more. Because, first of all, his solos are great. Second of all, I think he's a better composer. And third, he has a better ear for what synthesizer patch or texture is going to fit in with the song. Whereas you listen to some of the, especially like his solo records, Rick Wakeman solo records, where you're just like, what? Why did you? Yeah. What are you playing?
Yeah, my friend Tim used to say, and this was literally back in the 70s when the record had just come out, you know, if it was up to Rick Wakeman, Siberian Cat True would just be like For the whole song, you know, like that riff and then a solo and then that riff and then another solo, and it's just kind of like he's really good. You know what I really appreciate his piano playing, especially on Bowie records. He's amazing on Hunky Dory. So I don't know, Life on Mars. That's Rick Wakeman playing piano, and that's just amazing piano playing. So
he also basically wrote "Morning Has Broken" by Cat Stevens.
What?
Cat Stevens, the story is my mother went to see Rick Wakeman do a solo piano thing, and he told the story where Cat Stevens basically said, "Hey, I have a good sketch for this song," and he starts to play basically "Morning Is Broken," and Rick says, "Well, that's good, but it's only a minute long," and he basically throws some flourishes in, that what would you call it, modulating piano line goes up and then sort of tapers off, and then Cat Stevens does the next verse, and then Rick Wakeman basically does his thing again. So Rick wrote half of the song, but really wasn't credited until 10 years ago. He never got the writing credit for it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't mad, but he always brought it up.
Yeah, I think that the old days of songwriting, something changed in the mid 70s. The same thing happened to Procol Harum when they did A Whiter Shade of Pale. Matthew Fisher basically wrote that organ riff, which is basically the entire song other than the vocal, because the rest of it, the progression is just When a Man Loves a Woman, right? Like a British version of When a Man Loves a Woman, you know. But the thing that makes it stand out is that organ riff, you know, and it's so memorable. And then Matthew Fisher had to sue 10 or 15 years later, and it took him 20 years to win, but he won eventually. And Gary Brooker had to share he had to pay him back royalties and share the future royalties with him. I think that just the way that people thought about songwriting, licensing songs, and getting paid for publishing changed in that period. So it wasn't really anybody's fault so much. It was just kind of a lot of people like to dump on Led Zeppelin, and you probably should dump on Led Zeppelin, but in their defense, slightly kind of defending the indefensible, but I think that they didn't really think that much about rights. It's really stupid to say, but back then there wasn't the internet to search for things, and things were not the same. I think that they got caught with their pants down, and a bunch of people sued them. They really just literally stole a bunch of songs. They really stole Dazed and Confused.
The first two albums were chock full of stuff that other people clearly wrote, and then I was just the ending riff on Stairway was basically a riff that
Spirit,
one of the bands that was opening for them, wrote,
Spirit,
and then they just stuck on the end.
So
you can't say, I can't recall where I heard that riff before.
No,
you probably heard it for 10 nights,
right?
And sound check.
Yeah.
So
sometimes
this is really catchy. I wonder where I've heard it before.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think the things that they can be somewhat excused for is the blues stuff that they threw into the middle of their songs, where they were basically quoting from, Muddy Waters or whoever, and they start to basically do a cover of a Muddy Waters song, and then they go back into their own song, and it's, they probably should have said something. They probably should have given him some 10, 15% writing credit.
And if the original author comes to you and says, "Hey, I think that's mine," don't fight it. Just go, yeah, you're right. Here's
yeah.
Or whatever they're owed.
Yeah, but Dazed and Confused is really a different story. Dazed and Confused is written by some folk singer who opened for them a number of times, and Jimmy Page loved the song, and it's literally, the other song is literally called Dazed and Confused. So they didn't even change the name of the song. So, like, you can't really argue that one. You know, that's somebody else's song that you basically rewrote. You know, so
The only
then
one
on the,
on the other
only other
side,
thing I
there
heard-
are some songs that I have shared writing credits where it's like split 50-50, and I can't even tell where like, it doesn't sound anything like the original. Like REM's Sidewinder Sleeps Tonight is partially credited to The Lion Sleeps Tonight, like that classic 40
yeah.
to 50 song. And then there's a Michael McDonald song I keep forgetting that was apparently inspired by another song of the same name, but to me they don't sound anything alike. So, but he still gave him 50-50.
That's pretty awesome.
I don't know. I think that's
Very
that is
generous.
cool. And then the other thing that I had heard of, and somebody could correct me on this or not, but Pink Floyd, The Great Gig in the Sky, the original vocalist wasn't credited for a long time.
I mean, she's.
And then was credited years later.
I thought she was.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
somebody's on the record. Like the female vocalist that sings in that is on the record liner notes. But I mean, publishing, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. Like, was she given? Is that what you're talking about? Like, she given rights to make money from it? That's probably She probably wasn't.
I think so.
Yeah, because she was given a credit
And
on the
then-
liner notes, but that's not the same thing as giving her publishing. Yeah.
I got to see her actually perform that in New Orleans,
Oh, cool!
like '94.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember her
it's
name.
the only time I ever got to see Floyd.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. Claire something maybe, or God.
And am I the young guy here tonight? I mean,
Are you what?
am I the young guy here tonight? Because you guys are talking about seeing shows in the '70s, and I
No.
was like,
Glenn, tell him how old you are.
33.
okay, so you're the young guy.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
you are the youngest. I beat you by a couple of years. I'm 36.
So then it's
Where's
me, and
Martin
then
C?
it's Chris. All right.
Just,
I'm the
I'm
top.
just-
I'm the tip top of the old man totem pole here. Yeah,
All right. Just
Yeah,
checking.
You get to carry the big gnarled stick and
Yeah,
that's
knock
right.
heads.
Yeah.
you're the one that we have to do like respect your elders to.
There you go. Man, no, that whole era of music. I think that a big chunk of what attracts people like us to that era of music was it's not only is it so cinematic, it's also so well thought out, and the just the overall pictures that they paint. I mean, you're getting these massive.
I mean, it's funny because you guys mentioned the whole heavy metal or speed metal or whatever, and that's a genre that I'm still very much involved in. Like my older brother, who's like 4 years older than me, and he teaches guitar, and he's been playing for like 40 years, and he was always of the type, like, he could go from Metallica to Steve Vai to Frank Zappa. As far as playing is concerned. And then you've got people like Malmsteen, who was ridiculously fast and very accurate, but there was like Malmsteen was one of those ones I could listen to for like an hour, and then I was like, okay, I've had enough.
That's kind of what I mean. It's like, yeah, you're really good. That's great.
Right.
Yep, I can't do it anymore. Yep.
I feel very much, and this is a sin, I realize. I feel that way about Rush.
I can
No,
I can
it's
hear
not a
that.
sin.
I can.
I'm not a big Rush fan
I can hear
personally.
that.
On the album.
I got to see them on their Hold Your Fire tour, and they were fantastic live. And I think for me, it's always been more about the drummer in that band, the drummer and the bass player.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
they were all really, really, really good, but those two clicked in such a way. And for a three-piece band, especially to have that kind of a reputation and leave that kind of a mark on history, I give them more credit for that than the music itself, which I still enjoy Rush every once in a while. And when I was younger, definitely, because I was still exploring music and finding, you get exposed to that stuff when you have like an older brother who's, a musician. I got exposed to a lot of the really intense music early on. So you get an education in music really fast, and it kind of gets confusing because there's so much. But then, able to go back, like I was raised in foster homes, and my foster parents were big into Floyd and AC/DC and Zeppelin and stuff like that. And then, my brother was heavy metal and, Zeppelin and Frank Zappa and Devo. These bands that just they fill out. Like
that makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah.
Zappa into Devo. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It depends on the Rush out. Like early Rush, the proggiest of Rush is, I don't really think it's that. I think 2112 is a boring album. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
But I'm a really big fan of Signals, which is probably their new wave album.
Yeah, right.
It was very new wave.
4-minute songs, but they're really well crafted, well produced songs. And there's some like sprinkly, fast, technically bits, but they're not. It doesn't go on forever. It's like, you go in. It's a pop song. It has its intricate stuff, and then it makes its point. It doesn't go on forever.
It knows when to die.
I like Signals more than most of them too.
But that was the 70s, though.
It was the late 70s.
I mean, the 70s was all about it was all about the intense. I mean, look at In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, for God's sake. Like, it's one of the most popular songs of that era, and it was stupidly long for that time, and it also just went on like it was a very simple song too.
17 minutes. The famous Simpsons episode. I just love that where the church organist plays In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida because Bart changed the sheet music, and then it just says 17 minutes later. It's like there was a drum solo in there somewhere, but they skipped it.
Did she die at the end of it too?
Yes, and then Reverend Lovejoy says, "Wait a minute, this sounds like rock and/or roll."
Excellent. Smithers, have the Rolling Stones killed.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorite lines from him. That was definitely one of my favorite lines from him. It's like, but sir, they're nationally. It's like, I don't care. It's just so funny.
What a bizarre show that is. I mean,
Still is,
Still continues to rock and roll. I mean, I know that you get sort of the theory of the infinite number of monkeys and typewriters, but I don't know another show that has been that pointedly like, holy the future time traveler bit, How many times are you going to show exactly what is going to happen here in the future? It's just bizarre.
I think the only other show that is hit a lot of the same strata, as it were, has been Family Guy, but they do it in a much different manner.
Yeah.
The Simpsons has definitely been a lot more family friendly, kind of, whereas Family Guy definitely is not.
It's fart jokes for adults, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And it definitely hits, and the sideshow there of American Dad, which did not take off as fast, but later on, both of those shows, they really stretched the fart joke to the point of offensiveness, but not quite going over the line.
Yeah, it doesn't go South Park.
No.
South Park lost me a while ago, and I get that it is what it is, and serves its purpose.
When I stopped watching that.
Is that still I stopped
going?
watching it around. Oh yeah.
Wow.
I stopped watching it around the Prius episodes, I think, because of course everyone loves their own brand, so to speak.
I don't remember when I stopped watching it. I remember seeing the one where the character of Chef finally quit because of them making fun of Scientology, and he was a Scientologist.
Yeah. Right.
That was like early on, and then somewhere after the whole Obama thing, where Stan and what's his name went to the White House, and he killed somebody in front of him, and everybody was ignoring it, and Kyle was like, "Really?" I just kept saying, really? Like, no one sees this.
Right.
So I don't know. So it was somewhere during that generation where I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of done with that. It's not.
I stopped watching when somebody else stopped paying for my cable.
Well, there's the internet now. You can watch anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Although I definitely hit, probably about 10 years ago, hit my level of money versus time to spend pirating things. I was like, I would rather just pay for this for the convenience and not pirate it.
Agree, but there's so many. There's not even pirating anymore. There's just literally streaming sites. Like, all of my anime. Like, I'm a huge anime geek. Not even gonna go there, but there's like 3 or 4 sites outside of like Crunchyroll where you can literally just stream anything. I've been watching a new one that the main character is a person who's been reincarnated as a spider, which sounds silly as hell, but somehow they did it, and it's entertaining.
So I'm gonna pivot on that to another piece of fantastic fiction that if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And I need to find the author now. But it's Children of Time.
That sounds familiar.
Which is relatively recent, and it is about how to describe this without coming off totally bonkers. The second one, so the first one is about spiders.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is about octopuses, octopodes,
octopi.
Octopuses and octopi are both correct.
Yep.
You could just say cephalopods if you want.
Cephalopods.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
So the premise of this whole series, because it is a series, because of course then the spiders and the octopuses get together at some point in the second book. There's the human civilization has gone into the stars, and we've begun to marvel at ourselves, and we've started the uplifting process for so it's just purely scientific reasons. We're trying to research what happens when you drop, a bunch of monkeys on a planet and then tell them to, selectively increase their cooperation and whatever. And so they engineer this virus. Well, just before the experiment is about to kick off, eco-terrorists blow up the station. And the payload of this virus that was supposed to go down onto the planet that was about to also have its monkeys introduced at the same time. Monkeys died in the explosion. The payload of the virus went down. Well, the environment, the planet had already been terraformed and seeded with stuff. And it turned out that jumping spiders were just social enough that this virus, who they sort of selectively pushed the social aspect, the cooperative aspect of things, latched on to jumping spiders. And so the rest of the book, most of your characters, although you do have some human characters as well, most of your characters are spiders. And that sounds horrible.
Not to me. I love spiders, but
it's riveting.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then the following one, which is about octopuses, octopodes, same deal. Also riveting. You're like, how? Well, that you as an author can think that psychology through is amazing.
That reminds me, the first time I saw Star Trek 4, my best friend was like, I'm not going to tell you the plot of Star Trek 4 because you're just going to say, fuck you, that's stupid, I'm not going to watch it.
I already know. Yeah.
So we watched it, and she's like, what do you think? And I was like, that was a lot of fun. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. And she's like, yeah, you wouldn't have watched it if I told you the plot. And I said, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it would have been dumb. Now, it's funny because there is a book series from back in the 80s called The Uplift War that had the same idea, but it involved dolphins.
Okay.
And they were brought to sentience by humans, and then by doing so, they had violated some intergalactic law that they didn't even know existed, because apparently bringing something to sentience is something that only certain races were allowed to do, and those races came in and said, bad humans. Yeah, so I mean, it's
ignorance of the law is no excuse for a disobedience.
Exactly.
Thanks for the fish.
That same idea.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the author's name is Adrian Tchaikovsky.
I like
and
them already.
if you can't spell Russian, it's TCH. It's freaking wonderful. Highly recommend it. I believe there's another one that they're gonna do, but damn, it's good. And if you are more partial to audiobook, the voice acting is fantastic.
Do you know who David Brin is?
Ooh,
That name sounds familiar. Yeah. Who is that?
Yeah, David Brin's been around for a while. He's done a lot of it. He was the guy that authored the Uplift one, what I was talking about.
That'd be brilliant. I had a buddy try to get me into the Man Kazin War stuff.
Mm-hmm. I remember that one. I read that one.
Couldn't do it. Apparently, it's still ongoing.
Oh yeah. Also, David Brin apparently also wrote The Postman, which was the one that movie was done with Kevin Costner.
Oh yeah.
As in the postman always rings twice?
No. You're... All right, old man, step into the future.
Wait, are they not related? I always thought the Kevin Costner Postman was based on that book.
Although I could be,
maybe I'm wrong. I might be totally wrong, Mike. And you would know because
I could be wrong too.
There was a point where anything with the name Kevin Costner attached to it, I avoided like the plague. So
I completely agree. How is Kevin Costner still getting work?
Yeah,
like, I don't understand.
Right.
He is too.
Yep.
Holy cow, is he?
How what?
Oh God, stop! How is he still getting work?
I don't know.
You know.
Holy shit.
Yeah, because I mean, even Waterworld was just like
he could shake that.
I remember watching Waterworld.
Basically,
yeah, I remember watching Waterworld and just being like, "Really?
Yeah.
How did they get money for this?"
Yeah.
But then again, you look at Netflix now and you're just like, "Oh, right."
Yeah.
Well, so
yeah, go ahead.
I do want to throw a little bit of defense into Netflix here because I think take it back to the last 3 years. Netflix has for sure been throwing hard down with let's just throw money at anything, and anyone who's got a script will make it, regardless of how good it is.
Yeah.
But I think in the last, you're starting to see it come to a little bit more quality come out of Netflix.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of good Netflix stuff. Yeah.
The newest one, Shadow and Bone.
I've heard that's good. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You're the second person I'm going to mention that.
Really good.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to come out of Netflix is this German series called Dark. You want to have a hard time paying attention to something?
Holy fuck.
And it was funny,
dark,
Clay.
I mean, pun intended, dark though. Holy cow. It gets...
it's great.
Pretty dark.
It was great.
Yeah. I was going to say, Clay, because you were like, in defense of Netflix, but I'm like, you got a contract, didn't you?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I tell you what, though, if I get a contract with Netflix, I know where my friends are.
Just get a meeting. That's all you need. Yeah, it's good.
Actually, I like
Mr. Net, Mr. Flicks. Hello, I have a short pitch to deliver to you.
More of Mandible Judy.
Look, if Morty can get a meeting with Netflix, and anybody can do it.
I think it's actually
that might have been
Ms. Net, and Mr. Flicks, but you know, I don't know that they have specific genders really.
Well, these
a lot of assumptions.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't assume. I shouldn't.
So you just go with the gender neutral terms.
Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm very German.
They.
So apparently it's Reed Hastings, Neil Hunt, and Ted Sarandos are the owners.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I was like, what? Are we talking about books still? No.
Wait, I went to high school with that motherfucker. I wish.
Did you really?
No, I wish.
No.
I can tell when he's being silly.
Are any of you guys watching the Twitch stream by any chance? Probably not.
I am.
All
right.
Your machines are making me dizzy.
Yeah. Did you see that little square? You're gonna see it again in a moment. I'm going to. I don't know what I can give you guys that you don't already have, but the square that keeps popping into the frame and interrupting these slats has somebody's face on it, and I want to know if any of you know who it is. This is. This is probably a really difficult thing to answer.
There's like a weird. Is there a weird hat on it?
Yeah, the dude with the hat. Yeah. He looks like he actually looks like a character that be cast in a Netflix series.
Quick, take a screenshot of it. Reverse image.
Is that the dude
Looks like Mads
who had
Mikkelsen, but I know that's wrong.
what the hell is it called? The spike go through the top of his head?
Oh wow! Holy shit! So
you're talking about
you're on
the
a
first
certain
guy who do it.
Yeah, you're no. Okay, so like that, I don't feel like that. Yeah, what's his name? God, hang on. I'm gonna Google it.
I think
somebody Google it.
Ironically,
I know who you mean. The dude with the railroad spike who
railroads.
got blown through the top of his head, and he had a specific brain
Phineas
ailment.
Gage.
Phineas Gage.
There you go.
Yes, very well done. No, it's not Phineas Gage. But I think this guy might say like, "Oh, I see you name-checked Phineas Gage. All right, then. That's very cool." I'm trying to do a German accent. Not very well.
That didn't work.
He's German. Yeah.
He's German, yeah.
He's German.
Ja.
Well, shit.
He's an artist. He's a fine artist from mostly the 70s, I guess. Early 70s. He was involved in the Fluxus movement. I don't know. This is fine arts bullshit.
So I have no culture. I can fake culture.
Clayton, you have plenty of culture. It's just not. It's all low. No, sorry.
No. You're 100% right. My
you have plenty of culture. It's just
here,
not. It's not this culture. Yeah.
This is no highbrow. I dated a woman.
I drank a German beer once called highbrow. Sorry, go on.
Very was. I dated a woman who once did German impressionist paintings.
All right.
But that's as close as I get to culture.
Okay.
Gerhard Richter?
Oh, very close. That's good. That's good. But it's not him. It's Joseph Beuys. He was only tangentially. He was more an actionist, I think, maybe. I'm not sure. But the reason I used his face in this is because those particular slats of things that are bouncing around in the frame are specifically made out of felt material. But, I mean, it's not real felt, obviously, since it's virtual. But Little Big Planet has a material type called felt. And Joseph Beuys made a lot of his pieces out of felt. And the story goes that he was in a plane accident somewhere somewhere in the very cold part of the world. And he survived the plane accident like most of the people did, but he had to like kind of fend for himself for a while because the nobody could find them. They were in the mountains somewhere. I don't know how true this is. I really should look this up. But apparently he was rescued by some Inuit type people or something, some kind of indigenous people in this cold climate. And he was pretty much already frozen. And so they were like, we have to warm him up. And they knew how to do it because they lived there. And what they did was they basically wrapped him in animal fur or, like kind of basically felt, like processed animal fur. And they kept him inside it for long enough that he basically thawed out and survived. And so he based all of his work after that on felt. So he has these pieces. Some of them are in the Dia Beacon, which is in New York City, New York State. I've been to see them, and they're literally what we're looking at here. They're large swaths of felt stacked up in a room, except it's a one big stack and then like another big stack, and it's like a kind of almost a maze of stacks of felt. Pretty weird. Peculiar dude, to say the least. But fits right in with the whole discussion of Prague. So.
Yeah? You're not wrong with that. Speaking of Prague, anyone know what the word defenestration means?
Oh, yeah.
Throw out of a... Oh, no, to break a window.
To be thrown out of a second-story window or greater.
I love that word. That's great. Who doesn't love that word? I use it all the time.
With your students or just
in
general?
Why I wish you would be defenestrated. No, I don't use it all the time. I wish I did.
There should be better or more excuses to use the term, but
Yeah, there should.
that seems like it might be a much more, dangerous world.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
The risk of defenestration is very high here. You must be very careful.
Our particular...
No, children, stay away from the window.
That's beautiful. I love this. I love this line of talk here. Yeah, it's great.
Did anyone have as a kid, go on family trips and whatever, or school trips for that matter? The whole the second story window.
Oh.
And you pick a little nursery rhyme, and then you go, and then you throw it. So the game of the whole thing is supposed to be like, you take Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her, and she threw it out the window. So you get this refrain thing going, and you go until someone can't go anymore. Like they lose it, and then you're like, oh well, there you go, you lose. As with all car trips, there's no repercussion. No one gets left on the side of the road. Sorry, Timmy.
Yeah, no, mine was always the
Everyone
punch
loses in
buggy
a car
thing,
trip.
so we definitely lost. That was a very short-lived. The punch buggy thing. You ever?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's usually pretty short-lived, and everybody's angry at each other, and we all shut up.
Absolutely.
So there was no long. No, you stay on your side. You stay on your side, and I'll hit you both. Yeah, so
My
it was
parents
never.
put a giant cooler in between my sister and I in the backseat.
That's wise.
Yeah.
That's wise.
Will you stop touching me? She's touching me. Stop touching me.
We made a road trip from Chicago over to, I want to say I think it went past Mount Rushmore, but I don't remember all of it because I was young enough. What I do remember, because I know we were in the Badlands at one point, I remember two instances. One, it was in an Astro van, and they had those little pop-out windows on the sides, so that the little horrible snappy thing, like a toggle for a suitcase. And I don't remember how the hell it happened, but evidently I was irritating a sibling because my brother then threw my shoe out the window. Just had to force it physically down through the thing. And then my dad had to stop and get said shoe. And then later on, spare the rod, spoil the child was not...
same.
We
Right
got
there with you,
harassed.
man. Yep.
And then later on, we're in the Badlands, and my brother had this stupid rainbow hat. It was like a tie-dye hat because everything was tie-dye then. And the wind in the Badlands is it rips. So it caught his hat and ripped it off, and it went down part of a canyon. And I remember my dad, who I found out years later is terrified of heights, climbs over the edge of this friggin' thing to get his fucking hat. So my brother got his hat back.
Impressive.
But holy cow, those are the memories from that particular trip. Getting my ass beat for losing my shoe, and then getting to watch my brother get his ass beat for throwing my shoe out the window, and then watch my dad climb over the edge of the Badlands.
Wow. When the closest I came to that was the one time I was married, our honeymoon was in it was near Red Rocks. It was in Arizona, and we spent some hours, and we drove to the canyon, Grand Canyon. Now, if anybody's been there, they'll definitely agree with me on this. There's no picture, there's no video, there's nothing that can do it justice to how big that hole is.
Yeah.
It's enormous. And I mean, I walked around it there for an hour or so. I mean, that thing's 800 miles long. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
But at one point, I did the whole look around. I'm gonna pee in the Grand Canyon. So, my claim to fame on that one.
Hell yeah!
But it was really
careful. You catch an updraft.
Yeah.
You were getting pissed
I
on.
was gonna get soaked. Yep. No, I made sure on that one. I was old enough to know about not peeing in the wind.
Very, very big. It's a very Big Lebowski moment.
Oh yeah, big time.
For sure.
But that rug made my whole room.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Damn it, Walter! You always screw everything up. Clayton is actually Walter, which might be a good segue into talking about Clayton's part in our most recent episode. Which, I mean, we basically spent all this time not talking about podcasts or horror, so why should we start now?
Oh, yeah, no. I don't see what's in it. We're just enjoying shooting the shit here, yeah.
But I really, yeah, kind of pride myself on how far we've gone without talking about horror or podcasts here tonight. But Clayton,
and then I'll do?
What?
I'll get me and Clay to play Phasmo for you before this whole thing.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go. All right, so you could do that. You could just do that in the Discord, but we won't be able to see it on the Twitch. But that's okay. We'll just have some, like, basically what I've been doing is basically showing weird-ass ambient video. So, but Clayton did a really good job on the most recent Under Dead Water episode. I'm very happy with it. It was one of those moments where you hit, I think I've hit this stride with you, Mike. Glenn, I hit the stride with you. I basically hit the stride with every one of the actors in the series, where I'm thinking, now I understand who this character is because the actor has made the character make sense to me. And now I know who this character is. So I finally figured out who Walter is, Clayton's character in Under Dead Water.
I love that moment.
Yeah, and
Absolutely love that moment.
It's a very weird, creepy episode. And it's kind of what I've striven for, but you have to have some exposition in some of the episodes to kind of keep the story going in a way. And you can't always have creepy moments, but it's great when you can make an episode that's basically all creep. And that's what this episode is, I think. I'm
curious. You'll have to tell me, because I don't think that I could tell. Did you end up using the Foley for me eating shit in the room?
Oh yeah. So this is the fun. This is the most interesting story of this, and I wish I had shot video of that, but I think I got video. I've got still images of it. But Clayton, basically, there's a moment where Clayton blacks out from the sound of the rocks. Mike, you're familiar with this phenomenon because you've also blacked out from the sound of the rocks, as most of the actors in this series have. Yeah, so Clayton blacks out from the rocks, which are underneath the lake in this case, and he falls down in the boat, like a rowboat. So we had to have the sound of somebody falling in the rowboat. Now, I didn't ask him to do this because I have body hits wood, body hits metal. I mean, I've got all that shit, right?
Me too. Yep.
Yeah, or I could Foley it myself, obviously. But Clayton was like inspired, so he literally, after he did his last line of this take, he fell down and he was like, "Hang on, let me do that again," and he fell down again, and like we recorded it, so it is in there. It's mixed in. It's doubled with. Awesome. Yeah, it's doubled with like a standard body fall sound, like a thud. It's great because your thud is a bit more mid-rangey, so it's got like the more metal sound. So if maybe he's in a metal rowboat, which would be maybe more likely than a wooden rowboat, I think.
Sure.
Metal rowboats or fiberglass rowboats are probably more practical and more likely to be rented, I think.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, and then my part was more the thud part. What's that, Mike?
Is it period accurate?
Yeah. Oh, Glenn. Yeah. Sorry, it's period accurate. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it was fun that you did that, and I did leave. I was like, there's no way I'm taking this out. We're gonna use it somehow. So I just had to EQ it a little bit, and then mix in this other thing, and I think it works.
That always drives me nuts when I'm trying to do some kind of sound design. Because I don't know how long anyone else does this, but the majority of my time is spent trying to whittle down to the right fall or the right hit or the right whatever.
Yeah,
but that's
and you have to, at some point, you either going to do it until you drive yourself crazy, or you have to accept some lesser form as far as from your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Completely understand. When I was doing the sound design for leather armor for the dwarf in the Dragonlance series,
Mm-hmm.
I have a leather jacket that I got in like '92. It's a Wilson's leather. It's a full biker leather jacket. It's got all the zipper pockets, so it has the jingle of the harness of the armor and stuff like that, and it'll literally just sit there and crunch, because real leather, when you crush it
Yes.
like together, that
Yeah.
that sound.
You
And
can't.
still,
You
even
can't.
then, after
Yeah.
doing it a
Yeah. You
couple
can't
of
imitate
times,
that. You can tell if it's
no, it's
plastic. You can
so
tell if it's
difficult.
pleather. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Driving me crazy. Yep, right there with you.
It's a great sound,
I
leather.
think you're right. I think me and maybe Hedgie sound very similar.
What do you mean? You sound similar?
Because you called him Mike.
Oh yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
It might just be like we were talking and you both interjected, and I couldn't hear your voice properly because we were talking over it.
I didn't say anything. It was just him.
Oh, okay. Or I mean, just like when you interject and when he interjects. Never mind. I'm drunk.
Right. Shut up now.
Yeah.
No.
Really? No.
Really? Are you not?
I'm not.
You don't sound drunk.
I'm not drunk. I'm
I
just.
wish I was,
I'm
but I'm
drinking. I'll put it that way. I'm drinking.
I can't do that anymore. My kidneys would freak out.
My kidneys are freaking out.
Oh. When's the last time you passed a big kidney stone? And let's not get into that conversation hardcore, but that's the reason why. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
I can't.
Oh, okay.
Can't do that
oh,
anymore.
yeah. Sorry, man. Wow. Yeah. No, I have not done that. Know a lot of
And
people
I
who
miss
have. It sounds painful as fuck.
Yeah. There's not many things. I've had my arm broken in half, and that wasn't even anywhere near as
dude.
painful.
Whoa.
I know.
I guess I'm a sissy. Jesus, I've had no pain in my life, I think. And like not compared to those two things.
I would seriously, like anybody that was in an immense amount of pain, I would love to be able to absorb some of the pain, because I hate seeing people in pain. I don't know about you guys, but if you see somebody in pain, it's if you have compassion, you want to be able to do something. And if that helplessness is the worst.
Yeah, I agree.
But the fact that I've, experienced really big pain also makes it difficult for me to, when somebody is in pain, if it's a small amount of pain, it's difficult for me to be compassionate about that. It's like, you don't know what pain is. And then I'm like, no, shut up. That's not how this works.
You're going to get major pain on him?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like it cuts both ways as far as that's concerned.
It does.
What a money will quench your thirst. No, man, it was a fun episode. It was a lot of fun. It's neat to get to see more of that world, because I'm also coming into the series and into the Mandible Judy side of the universe.
Yeah.
Midway, because I think you've just finished season 3, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In March of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into it and kind of getting a world that's already lived in and has some mythos and has some history to it is a lot of fun. And to be able to do that from the actor's point of view it's my first time getting to do that. Literally, I've either been it from the beginning or I've written it myself, and so I know it. So
yeah.
This is a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. It's very cool.
Nice.
It is really fun. Become part of something that you had no idea existed in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like I didn't have to make this universe. How did it come to be? Someone else made it. What?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. But I'm saying that I'm totally claiming authorship here, but you guys definitely have a role in creating this universe. I really, as a writer, I'm not a great writer, I don't think, but I'm learning. And one thing I've learned is that you have to go with the cues that your actors give you, and they may be intentional, they may be unintentional. I think all three of you, there four. How many of us are there? All three of you have given me things to work with that I didn't expect. And Clayton, I think I cast you because you auditioned for like some other character, like probably Brady or something. And I was like, all right, I think
auditioned for Brady and Old Willie,
right? Uncle Wally, yeah. And so Uncle Wally, which is based on my actual Uncle Wally, yeah. But just I just listening to that and hearing your voice, I knew like you would be good for something, but it wasn't either of those characters, to me at least. Maybe you probably could have been one of those characters in a different, if I was willing to kind of totally rework the character.
That's exactly
it, Roger.
Yeah.
But that works a lot of the ways.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times that I have auditioned for, X character, and then you get a contact and they're like, well, I don't want you for that character, but you'd be great for this character. And now I've gotten used to that. It's like, okay,
it's kind of more.
I'm just going to send my voice reel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It seems more likely that would be the thing, right? Although I got to say, Mike, when I just get a voiceover reel, I do listen to all of them, but it's not the same thing as somebody trying to voice a character that you wrote. There's something about that, even if it's not the right character, that makes you think a little harder about how would this person work in what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Especially if you like the voice. And like, actually all three of you guys have voices, have specific qualities to your voice that I really like, and that, Glenn I already knew from we're personal friends. Like I've seen him many times before we started doing voice recording. But Mike and Clayton, neither of you guys have I ever met in the flesh. And so your voice is basically everything and like a picture of you. And that's it. That's basically it, right? So my image of you is basically what you do when you're auditioning for my podcast, which is really kind of interesting. Obviously now that's not true anymore because you've both been in this chat for a while. But that was when I cast both of you, that was it. And Mike, I think you've got a really iconic sound. I don't know what it is. It's really distinct, though. Are you aware of this?
I've been told more than anything else. The guy that drew Happy Little Trees.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
I don't know who that is.
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross.
Oh, Bob Ross?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I actually get.
I never thought of that. Holy shit. Well,
the New York equivalent of Bob Ross.
Happy Little. Just gonna paint some happy little trees, and then back here we'll put some mountains.
Right, and then the drug dealers.
Yeah, exactly. And over here we'll get the fucking drug dealers.
Yeah.
On that note, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right. So, Glenn, I wanted to talk to each of you guys about. Wait, are you talking to me? You're all streamy funny. Say it again. Glenn? No, I'm not going to fucking repeat what I was saying. You can just roll the tape back and listen to it again. Glenn? He's fucked off
you're
now.
Coming out.
Now, I think I can safely say that you've taken the record and thrown it out the window.
Any better, any worse?
There we go. All right. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's my stream, maybe.
Okay. Your fault.
I think it's the buffer.
It's a buffer.
Between all
the
of us
freaking buffer. Yeah. But
all
Glenn.
the data, it's plugged in the tubes.
Scotty, you got to get down there. Clean it out. Glenn,
Yes.
I want to talk to each of you. And you're one of you. You is 3 in this case, and you are one of the number 3.
3 shall be the number of counting.
And thou shalt count no further than 5, or thou shalt stop counting. Glenn.
Yes.
We have a. Can you hear me, Glenn Fandango?
Yes, I can hear you, Clem Fandango.
You and I have a bit more of a history, as may be apparent. But you're not naturally a voice actor. You never pretended to be a voice actor.
I don't know. I pretended to be for the last 2 seasons.
I'm not a voice actor, but I play one on TV. Yeah. Okay. So when I first met you, you did not introduce yourself as a voice actor. You were a person who was obviously interested in media, mostly sound and music, and we bonded over the whole music thing. Glenn and I, Clayton, in case you didn't know, have done musical collaborations, and we've worked on live performances together. Glenn has been on stage with me. I don't know if I've ever been on stage with you, Glenn. Although I remember you doing Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis on a Sega Genesis, and me
at a venue on Broadway.
Yeah, on Broadway. That's right. Holy shit! I forgot about that. And
the most meta open mic ever.
It was, and I sang along to every word. I had no idea he was going to do Genesis on a Genesis, and I sang along every syllable. Probably much to his annoyance.
Does one do that?
Glenn, tell him how one does that.
I'm pretty sure I know how, but I'm gonna. Yeah, go ahead, Con.
Mike.
Well, one
No.
purchases a specially programmed Sega Genesis cartridge, and there's a tracker software, which the tracker software I use is no longer supported. The guy who wrote it basically had a bitch fit and was like, fuck everything, and deleted all of his programming. So, aside from maybe I probably have one of the few instances of that application still in existence. But I used that, and then you basically convert it to a binary and dump the binary onto the cartridge, and then you just play the cartridge on the hardware.
Oh wow!
Very tedious.
A little
stuff.
A little technical, maybe a little bit. Not only technical, but ancient technology as well. But yeah.
So then, is that your passion? Is sort of taking the modded equipment and turning that into then a musical instrument, or was it just like a one-off?
Welcome to Chiptune.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now I have hijacked the podcast.
That's okay.
So
because there are two of us.
So I was making my own stuff for a little bit. I did like a little EP that I released on a small net label based out of Philadelphia, but I found that my niche in that community was more about the actual DIY shows and day of show operations, setting up, sound checking, making sure things didn't catch fire, hurting cats, and tearing down at the end of the night. So I did that for about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, that sounds like my first 5 years on the road.
Yeah, Mike, you did a lot of live
blast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It can be, yeah.
I started out as a lighting tech. Like I started out as a vocalist back in the late 80s, and then somebody like introduced me to the tech side of it and paid me more money than I thought was possible, and I was like, I'm going to do this. This is way cooler.
Right.
And started out in lights, and then got into the sound end of it and started doing that. But still, like, you spend, and you really love that lifestyle if you work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and make like $170 a week.
Yeah,
like that, and it's not like an issue. Like, I'm sleeping on pool tables in clubs, and
right.
Don't care. Like,
people
whatever.
Are buying you drinks. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Don't care. Let's go. This shit is fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would have done it when I was young too, and in fact, I did. Basically, I worked in low budget filmmaking, which is very. I remember when I worked with Troma as a location scout and location manager, I was making $70 a week. $70 a week.
Yep.
Yep. That was like 83 or something, but still.
But it didn't matter, did it?
Nah.
You were just happy to be part of the whole thing.
It didn't matter until like the douchebag producer started yelling and being really misogynist. Then I was like, "Fuck you, I'm leaving."
Yeah, and I didn't really have to deal with that because like the guys, the biggest douchebags that I had to deal with were like the club owners, and usually the band took care of that.
Yeah,
the agent or whatever. I'm just here to set up. Like I just work here, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
And the worst, oh my God, the worst day ever. Like literally getting ready to set up. I don't remember what it was we were doing, but we had some replacement the sub speakers. They were 18-inch. And one of them was in a box, like in a wooden box, but inside the cardboard box. And I was doing something and I stepped backwards and put my foot right through the speaker.
Oh,
brand new. That was my whole week's pay right there.
Oh my God. Oh, that sucks. How were you responsible for that? What the fuck, man?
Well, because I mean, seriously, like if you work around all that equipment.
Oh, did we lose Mike? Or did I lose Mike? I don't hear you guys anymore. Gosh darn it. Well, here I am on my lonesome. I don't know if you can hear me. But I can't hear any of you. I'm going to leave and come back, as I've been told to do. I'm nothing if not, I don't know, educated by my friends. So Clayton is having a hard time reloading his screen. In the meantime, this is a bizarre map. Not sure what inspired this. Just I wanted to make something that looked otherworldly. There's an actual audio part of this, which I'll turn up here. Each of those little weird obelisks that kind of float up and drop back down have an associated sound object. And they make a lovely sound, actually. I'm going to try to rejoin the public broadcast service here on Discord. Hey guys, do you hear me? I can see they're talking, but I don't hear them. Very interesting. Let's look at the chat. There's nothing in the chat. just texting them in Discord to see if I can find out what the hell is going on. I don't know why I can't rejoin the public broadcast chat service. It's loading. It seems to be having a problem with Clayton's stream. Everyone else seems to be loaded. I don't know what's up with that. Weird. Well, it's just you and me, Rosie. Let's go back to the Twitch stream as long as we're here. Weird. I seem to be still in there.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
But I pulled one of the wires out to check it, and the stack started working. Like I unplugged one of the speakers, and the whole stack started working. So I just kind of dropped it, raised my hands, and walked away and went back to soundboard. I'm like, okay, it works. I don't know what happened, but whatever.
Well, it's fixed.
So, you guys had anything similar to that you can remember?
Everything breaks. That's all I'll say.
There are two stories that I remember, two con stories. One, we had a guy who was a keyboard player, and doing some really great keyboard stuff, and his backup track was off the laptop, and we were having these weird feedback sound issues, and we kept going to the contractors whose gear we were basically using, even though I was stage managing, and we're like, yo, there's something wrong. We think it's the DI box. And of course they were saying, no, it's not the DI box. And
that's infallible.
So about 3 songs in, I tap one of my cohorts on the shoulder. I was like, yo, Curtis, we're grabbing a DI box. I'm going to tap our performer on the shoulder and say, stall for 20 seconds between songs. So we did just that. We did a hard swap in, like, as he did some banner, swapped out the DI box, no problems. And I gave the eye to the dude. You dick, you absolute dick.
Yep.
And the other thing that sticks out was I was managing a small DIY space at the same convention another year, and I said, all right, I'm going to dinner. The last set for this space is at 8 or 9. I'll be back to make sure you haven't set anything on fire. He
came back and everything was on fire.
Kinda. Because I was like, guys, channel 1 and 2 are left and right on the stage mixer. Channel 3 is vocals. Channel 4 is the DI or something. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get the idea. I come back.
Stereo, mono. Yeah.
Yeah. Channel 1 was mono. Channel 2 was completely unplugged. Channel 3 wasn't working. God. Channel 4 was a mic that I hadn't even plugged in. And I was like, guys, the fuck. I couldn't even begin to unravel what I was like,
how did you make this happen? Yeah.
What were you even doing? Like, how did you get here? So again, I turned to the team. I was like, here's what we're doing. We're unplugging absolutely everything. We're plugging it back in the way I say it, and nobody is going to touch a fucking thing for the rest of the night. And that's what we did. Like 15 minutes, unplugged everything, set it up the way it was supposed to be. And I said, everybody get away from the desk. I am the desk. I am the captain now.
I am the desk.
I am the desk.
It reminded me too, because like back when I was doing sound, everything was still analog, and so you had a snake. for
Yeah.
that goes to the backstage everybody plugged into. So we had like a 24 channel snake, and at the end of one of the shows, like I was in a real rush to like break down really fast for I couldn't tell you the reason now, but like as soon as they finished the last song, I started unplugging the snake, and I hadn't gotten to the microphones yet, and they were like, "Oh, you guys want an encore?" And I'm looking at this
No.
pile of yeah,
No
yeah.
encore.
And I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I just started plugging stuff back in. I had no idea what I was plugging.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god. So
That
all the
is
games
sad.
were changed. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
Yeah,
dude.
and everything sounded like ass. It basically became the punk rock, encore that they needed, basically.
Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
pretty much.
It's just
There you
noisy
go.
as fuck and, whatever.
Oh,
I worked at Mike, you spent some time in New York. Do you Brooklyn Academy of Music?
I haven't been there. I think I somewhere in Utica I went for
Okay.
one of them, but no, I haven't been to that one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So,
Go ahead.
I worked at Brooklyn Academy of Music for about 4 years. I was an extra guy because I was not in the union. It was a very much a union house, which is excellent. I will fight for the right of those douchebag, conservative dipshits in the union to have their freaking benefits to the end of my days. But it was really a really great education in cultural differences. It was amazing. I remember going down into the crew chief's office and being like the young liberal New Yorker art student that I was, and walking in, and he was like, "Oh, you know about sound? Yeah, we don't have that many guys who know about sound. So come on down and have a meeting with me. I got to talk to you about sound." So I come down there in his office, and there's a big ass poster, a banner on the back of it on his wall that says, "I love killing communists." I shit you not. Yeah. Can you imagine somebody who get up? It was a banner. It was like about 8 feet wide. So it was a really big statement he was making.
The guy that also used to proclaim, "I would have joined the military, but I wouldn't be able to stop myself from hitting the drill instructor." That kind of guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or killing the drill instructor at that point.
So yeah, I'll give you one more story about Bam. Jack Fuller.
Is this the Warhol story?
What, you know the Jack Fuller story, I think. Andy Warhol.
I know it.
Yeah. So I worked on. You guys know there's a record released by John Cale and Lou Reed called "Songs for Drella." It was basically a tribute to Warhol by the two guys who founded the Velvet Underground, and Warhol obviously was very much instrumental in the Velvet Underground being a thing, right? Because he gave them all their early performance opportunities, and so they made this tribute thing to him, and after he died, and it was a really kind of it was sweet. It was a really sweet thing by two like one recovering alcoholic and one recovering junkie, basically. But it was really sweet. And so the last song is this really heartfelt track about, he's singing directly to Andy Warhol himself. Lou Reed is singing directly to Andy Warhol. And I can't remember the lyrics, but it's really sweet. And you should look it up on YouTube. It's the last track on Songs for a Drella. So I'm backstage. It's kind of like that moment. That moment in Citizen Kane where the camera pans up to the very top of the catwalks and there's two guys and one guy just holds his nose, like the person who's performing sucks, basically. So they didn't suck, but the camera pans back to me and my friend Mike, who's also an art school student, and this guy Jack Fuller, who was like a Vietnam War vet, union member, flag waving, whatever, and he says. He starts mimicking the lyrics of the song while Lou is singing on stage, like backstage, so no one can hear us, obviously. But he's like, And the war's a fag as sure as you can see. I don't care what Andy says, just keep him away from me. And he looks at us like we're supposed to laugh or something. And we were just
And
like...
you both look horrified?
Yeah, we were pretty horrified. But, I mean, it was like... I think I said something to him. I don't remember what it was now, but... There was basically a series of really big, cultural lessons for me, where, like, this is a guy who grew up very differently than I did, and
Sure.
Okay, that's messed up, and I probably shouldn't even consider his point of view, but it taught me something, that there are people in the world that believe things like that, that I have to deal with that. We all have to deal with that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
My wife's grandmother was that person. She was one of these. Oh, dude, she was one of these older Jewish ladies who grew up in Queens, and in the walk-ups and so on. And at the time that she was growing up, it was very, like, your neighborhoods were super cultural or ethnic, and so you'd go, no, that's the Dominicans, these are the Jewish people,
right?
Or there's the Hasidic Jewish people,
yeah.
And you didn't ever, so everyone is those people, and as she got older, she's since passed, but she just never evolved, and so she'd be going on a rant, and you're like, Ma, how would you feel if someone was talking about Jewish people like that? She's like, well, it's not the same thing. She's like, how is that not the same thing? Because it's not true. And you think that, like, all Polish people are this?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly,
there's no point in that.
This is going to be how this conversation is. Just a totally different. I mean, I don't know if that's a symptom of the era, because this is, she absolutely experienced what it was, at least at the time, to live in a Holocaust world.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just is. It's bizarre to me.
Well, I think there's also the deciding factor of your upbringing too, because I mean, I spent a good 12, 13 years in the Deep South, and racism has always, like, all the people that are so shocked at everything that, all the people coming out as racist during the Trump era, and it was like, oh my God, I thought we were so over. Like, no, this stuff hasn't. And while we try really hard to educate people, to keep things going, the upbringing, and also a lot of the way that America just works, there's no getting around it. Like, nobody is born racist, nobody is born religious, nobody is born anything other than just an empty mind that slowly gets indoctrinated one way or another.
Yeah.
So depending on where you grow up and how isolated you are is going to be exactly how you view the rest of the world. And unless for some reason you get lucky enough to have the genetic disposition to question what you're told, there's every chance in the world that you're going to end up being, racist or super religious, and think that anybody that isn't is going to hell, or there's too many, stereotypes there.
Sure.
And I remember the first time, because I grew up without religion, period. And I think I was at, like, one of my first jobs when I was like 15, 16 years old. I was working in an Arby's, of all places, up in Maine. And just after the lunch rush, one guy that I was working with, the last people that were there had been a couple of color, and they finished up and left, whatever. And he literally said out loud, all black people should die. And I turned to him, and I literally, my brain couldn't, like, it didn't register. Like, I remember very specifically feeling confused because the words didn't make sense to me. Like, he spoke in another language. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't And that was my first introduction to it. And I mean, then right around like 18, 19 years old, I moved to Florida. So I was white boy from Maine, went to Florida, and one of my first working music things down there was a soul festival in a field where they literally tied into the telephone pole for power, but it was about 3,000 or 4,000 black people, and I was about one of 6 white guys.
Oh, dude, that's
And
amazing! Holy shit! Whoa!
Culture shock.
I need to. Do you have any pictures or anything? Any documentation? Just memories.
I really do.
Memories
Yeah,
are
just
good. Memories are good. That's okay.
It was quite stunning. But I mean, I think it's one of the reasons that luckily, it's one of the reasons that I ended up having the outlook on the world that I do. That, you know, we're all just human. Stop trying to make this, you know.
Yeah.
And you can't really fight it that much. You can't, because there's systemic racism that is, you know, in everything.
Yeah.
This
it's
country
very
is
true.
built on it. So it's really difficult. And it's also one of those subjects that you got to be really careful, you know, who you bring it up around, because you can really start some shit.
Well, I mean,
but yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean, but I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here would be like,
well, yeah.
Do you want to start some shit with somebody who's a complete asshole? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But unless it's a, you know, a family member, then you're like, well, okay, obviously there are some things you just can't say because you don't want your elderly grandmother or elderly whatever, you know, grandfather to have to deal with it, you know. And I know that from experience.
I gotta be honest. I'll pick that fight.
Oh yeah.
Well, cool. I mean, it's good. I mean, you're from Georgia, Clayton. Where did you grow up, Clayton?
Man, I'm all over the map. Grew up in Chicago until I was about 12. Moved to the foothills of Tennessee until I was about 16. Spent some time in New York. Spent some time in Nashville.
Are you an Army brat? Are you? No.
No, it's the other great mover, divorce.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that happens.
So,
yeah.
Lots of getting kicked around.
Cool. All right. Okay. Yeah.
So
not cool, but
there, and then, well, I mean, look.
Yeah.
The reality is, you know, we are our history, and our history shapes us into who we are, and
yes,
I'm perfectly comfortable with who I am. So,
wouldn't change my past for a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the phrase? I mean, say what you will about Louis C.K., but he's got this wonderful phrase as a part of one of his sets about how he's getting divorced, and everyone in the audience is like, "Oh," he goes, "No, shut the fuck up." At no point in the history of humanity has a good marriage ended in divorce. You should, anytime someone tells you they're getting a divorce, you'd be like, "Oh, good for you."
Yep. I think mine was the only one, because when I got divorced, we're actually amicable. We're still friends.
Well, yeah.
Which was, she was a skydiving instructor.
Said, "Oh my God, my divorce is falling apart."
Yeah. You taking off, Clay?
Yeah, guys, I gotta run, but I will be back next week.
All right.
Nice. Yeah.
Clayton, thank you so much. And
Yeah,
well
likewise.
done on the episode. Thank you. And anybody
you.
listening, please check out Under Dead Water episode 8. Clayton Romero basically brings you the entire thing, so it's really good, I think. And
please tell me you're related to Caesar.
No relation. If I was, there'd be some connections.
Right?
But yeah, thank you very much. And again, hats off to you for the sound design and frankly the direction. So thanks.
Thanks. All right. Well, it was
All right,
good. It was a good collaboration. Thanks, Clayton. See you soon.
All right,
Thanks,
ciao.
Clay. See you, man.
All right. So,
Yep. And on that note, my wife is giving me the eye too. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Glenn, it's you and me. And you know what? I have something for you, Glenn. Mike, have a good night. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Yeah, please.
I haven't sent you a script yet, but I will momentarily. It's written, but I want to rewrite it, and I want to rewrite it again, and then I want to send it to you. So,
I will tell you that I spent a couple of years writing a novel at one point back in the early 2000s. I empathize. Writing is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I did it once. I was like, okay, I did it. And people were like, oh, you need to write a sequel. I'm like, no, I fucking don't. You don't know what this took out of me.
Yeah.
All right. So give me a shout when you got it. I'll be around.
Later, Mike.
See you guys.
All right. So Glenn, this is all for you. We got something real special going on here. You ready? Hang on, I gotta turn that down. Are you there, Glenn?
Is this on the Twitch?
Oh yeah, it's on the Twitch.
Oh yeah.
So tell me, are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you gonna sing it, or am I gonna sing it?
Oh, you're gonna sing this.
I don't remember the lyrics. All right, so wait. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to find the goddamn lyrics online and sing. Because I
have not had enough alcohol for this.
I'm pretty sure I've figured this out, this actual track. So let's see. It's called Carpet Crawlers. Lyrics. Heed their callers. Okay. All right.
All right. If we're really doing this against my better judgment, can I at least get me a whiskey?
Go get a whiskey.
Whiskey.
Whiskey. I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to listen on YouTube to the original so I can remember how he sings it.
It's like riding a bicycle. Just start.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
I gotta get that whiskey.
Okay. All right. So, to our many listeners who are not here at the moment but will be here later, I'm looking up the lyrics to a Genesis song from, I don't know, God, what year is this? It's from a record called The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, and it's called The Carpet Crawlers. And I'm going to now listen to the actual song. Oh, wow. He sings immediately. Damn. I won't remember this. There's no way I'm going to remember this. All right. We're going to try this without Glenn because he's getting whiskey.
Glenn is back.
Oh, Glenn is back. All right.
I wish Tamara was here.
Just to make us feel better for failing miserably.
Yeah.
She would know this a little bit for sure. I don't know if she's listening. She might be listening. I hope she is.
Between the three of us.
But between the three of us, we would get something. God damn it. All right, so. There's lamb's wool under my naked feet. The wool is soft and warm. Gives off some kind of heat. Thank you. The salamander scurries into flame to be destroyed.
I need to get the lyrics too.
Magic creatures are trapped on celluloid. There's no way I'm doing this, dude. I'm sorry. We're just gonna let it play. This is MIDI only. I think it's only literally the arpeggio, and you can see how long it is. So
I was looking at that.
it was hard to get this much of it. Heavy wooden door where the needle's eye is winking, closing in on the poor carpet. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah. I probably got this totally wrong. All right. So we're not doing this. We're doing
all that prep.
Yeah.
Bad. You were very excited to do this.
I was very excited, but then I realized I only have, whatever, 16 measures of the song done. So, but it's a start. You and me, baby.
Yeah,
we're gonna do this.
We started working on something about 1,000 years ago. We were working on. I wasn't dancing out with the moonlit night.
It's Firth the Fifth.
It was Firth the Fifth.
Yeah, hell yeah, baby. We had that, man. We were doing it. It was awesome. All right, so I'm going to sing a Milo Jones song then. If we're not doing this, I'm doing a Milo Jones.
I'm Not in Love Again?
No, Milo Jones has a great version of I'm Not in Love, but I'm doing On the Road.
On the
lyrics.
again?
Let's see. I don't know if I have the lyrics written down here. Yeah, see, the thing is, they're not on the internet. So I have to look for them somewhere. So let's see. I have to find them on my laptop. On the Road. I have a really good system. I basically just whatever the name of the song is, I write it, and I write the word lyrics after it, and then I usually can find. Oh, shite!
You have described the basic premise of Google.
Well, but Google is not going to help me because this is not a very well-known song. Okay, so. On the Road. Name matches, and nothing matches that name. Okay. All right. Nothing matches that name. So we're going to take this hard drive out.
Now, you said you know Milo Jones.
What's that?
Didn't you say you know him?
Yeah, I know him. He's an awesome guy. He's a really nice guy. He's very funny and very bizarre, I will just say. Game Capture is using the hard drive that I want to eject because I only have 2 USB ports. Arg.
I've come to the realization I need a USB hub.
Isn't there a way to eject it without and tell it fucking force eject, dude? What the hell?
It's not a nice thing to say, but I'm kind of hoping you accidentally crash your entire computer trying to do this.
Well, I can't.
It leaves me hosting the rest of the podcast.
Fuck it. I just pulled out. Not ejected properly.
Fuck it.
I got the Mac not ejected properly. No shit, dude. Because you wouldn't let me eject it properly. So we're gonna all right, so let's see. All right, On the Road. On the road. Name matches. I've got the video, damn it, but where's the where are the lyrics? I know I have the lyrics for this.
You've got the video.
I've got the freaking video, but that's not going to help me unless I watch the whole video first.
This podcast is really growing legs at the end.
Yeah, nothing. Jesus. Yeah, it's not working. All right. Well, I guess I can't do that either. Christ. What we can do, let's see, what do we have here?
Tuning into the podcast, everyone. Stick around next week while we remodel Glomag's bathroom at the very end.
Just me and Glenn, just remodeling a bathroom. That's what has to be done. That's what has to be done.
That's what you do.
I mean, like, what the hell, man? What are you going to do? I'm looking for...
We're collecting only for our upcoming series.
I really want to do the sea shanty synthwave sea shanty.
I'm really on board with this.
No? Not so
Yeah.
into sea shanty?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay, well, dude, help me write it. Just imagine, we can make it a comedy. I don't care. We make it whatever you want. Just let's do it.
We do it to Neil Young Tonight's the Night style. We'll just get wasted and record.
Have you read about the production of that record? It's pretty interesting. I don't really know the record very well. What?
I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's
Basically,
Go ahead.
his roadie died,
Yes.
and his guitar, I guess it was his rhythm guitar player, was a junkie, and he told the dude, "Listen, I'm tired of your shit. Clean up your act, and come back when you get it together." And the guy wound up ODing,
Right.
and it him into a depression, and he basically said to his band, "We're just gonna drink and let tape roll, and that's the next record."
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, talk about dark horses. Tonight's the Night is one of my favorite Neil Young records. I would rather listen to Tonight's the Night than listen to Harvest any day.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it's a great record.
That's funny because what you said about Rush was the opposite, right? It was like not the one where you just like sprawl your creativity all over the record, but the one where you compartmentalize it and say, here's a song, here's another song, here's another song. So Harvest is very much that, right? Harvest is the subdivisions. What's it called? The record, the Rush record. What? What's it called?
Signals.
Signals. Thank you. The signals of Neil Young's career, if one can say that.
I'll tell you, another one of my favorite records of his is actually one that he did probably in the last 5 years. It's called Le Noise, and it's Neil Young, produced by Daniel Lanois.
Right.
And
That's hilarious.
It is hilarious, but it's a really sparse record. It's basically Neil Young, just like Neil and a guitar, and Daniel Lanois doing like some atmospheric production treatments and doing a little bit of like atmospheric slide guitar. It kind of reminds me of, in some ways, the Chill Out KLF record.
Yeah.
But it's very confessional. I think the songs are really good. It's very different from the other stuff that he's put out, and I like it a lot.
Cool. That's great, man. He's a really interesting artist. He's kind of an oddball, obviously, but he was
Yeah.
very he was really seminal at a certain point in music.
Guy that
Music
always
history.
did whatever he wanted, no
What's
matter
that?
what it was.
Sorry.
He's a guy who he's a guy who always did whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
But no matter what it was. And sometimes it was great, and sometimes it was absolute trash. But it
Yes.
was always his.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like that whole he his like knee slapping cowboy boots wearing country period of the 80s is like, oh man. Ugh. But
Yeah.
like he does Rust Never Sleeps. Bass is credited with creating grunge, called the Godfather of grunge. He's all like, not all of his stuff is interesting, but he has done so much stuff that a lot of it is still interesting.
Yeah. I feel like he's, you can call him the godfather of a lot of things. I mean, I don't think he's actually the godfather of anything besides Neil Young, but I mean, I do think that a lot of people were influenced by him, but really tangentially. It was more like, I mean, like, I love After the Gold Rush. I'm an electronic musician. Nothing I produce sounds anything like After the Gold Rush, but I really love that record. It's just a really heartfelt document, It's really awesome. And it's dark and really, it's a very, very much a junkie record. I mean, I've never been a junkie, but I just kind of feel like I understand that mindset from the early 70s. People who were like, basically, the early junkie culture was really also the early people who were just alienated from society in America. They didn't understand society. They didn't understand the whole 50s mindset, which had basically dominated, since that period. And it's kind of cool that Neil Young came out of nowhere. I mean, Canada, not nowhere, Ontario specifically. But he did actually kind of, make records that really resonated with a lot of Americans in a weird way, kind of country style, but also hippie kind of rock style. So he played a lot of parts, a lot of roles in music history, and I think it's really cool that he continues to be an influence.
He also came up through Louis Springfield and Crosby, Stills,
Yeah.
Nash & Young. I mean, he's been involved with so much stuff outside of his solo discography. A lot of it just through sheer luck, but still, like project after project that have just been, what do you call, milestones of culture, like 60s and 70s culture.
Yeah. No, totally. I mean, it's one of the great things about him is he's, kind of a touchstone through various decades. And, that's cool. Like, my sister was really into the early Neil Young stuff. And those are the records I like the most, basically, like After the Gold Rush. And there's a record just called Neil Young. And
everybody knows This Is Nowhere.
Yeah, everyone knows This Is Nowhere, Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Like, those records are all really good, And it's funny because they're all also, and I'm going to go here because this is a place that not that many guys will tread, interestingly, but the guys that I really, generally like a lot and find a kinship with musically go here. But the early, all the Joni Mitchell records, the early Joni Mitchell, all the way through her mid-career.
I was going to go there.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's just amazing. She's like, I mean, I wouldn't say she's the female Neil Young, because in some ways she's way better than Neil Young. She's certainly musically way more
Musically,
accomplished.
way more.
Yeah.
Like For the Roses.
Yeah.
Spark. I'm not too big on Hygera, but Hissing of Summer Lawns.
Yeah.
Especially like there's that like the piece Jungle Line, which is
it's amazing.
which is super
Holy
cool.
shit.
It's like
yeah.
a sampled African drum beat and a Moog synthesizer and her with a guitar.
Yeah.
Like we who else was doing that in '75?
I know. It's awesome. And it's about what's his name? Jesus. Oh, goddamn. What's the painter's name? The guy who went to Ghana hang on. French painter. What was his name? Jesus. He did all the paintings of indigenous women from an island, and I can't remember what island it was from.
You don't mean Renoir?
No. He stayed in France. That fucking guy, Paul Gauguin. Gauguin.
Oh, Gauguin.
Yeah. Actually, let me just look up. I'm gonna search Joni on Wikipedia. Mitchell. The Jungle Line.
And my mother has every Joni studio album up through her '94 album, Turbulent Indigo, which is also just an awesome. People like nobody really talks about that record because I think a lot of people had lost interest in her by the time. But I think anyone would be. People should be jealous of how good that record is because it's still so.
What year is it?
'94.
Holy shit! Wow.
And then she pretty much stopped making music. She focused on
singing. She did. Her voice dropped basically.
I think that's, some people say that's her smoking. I think that's just she'd been making music for 20 years.
I mean, 30 years. The woman sang with a multi-octave range. I mean, there's just no way you can keep that going. Nobody should have expected it to keep going.
Really bringing it back here, but we can't be John Anderson.
Yeah. Well, all right. So it was not Gauguin. It was Henri Rousseau was the guy she was singing Jungle Line about. It's about his paintings. So, yeah, anyway. And it's awesome. It's really awesome.
Yeah, to Bar and Grill off of For the Roses yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Court and Spark. I mean, all of the songs off of Court and Spark are just so good. House and Garden, I think, is the interlude in the middle of it. Harry's House and Garden.
Yeah, Harry's House. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just amazing.
So I've got this Milo Jones map opened, but I can't remember how to operate it. So, damn it. All right, so we got to go back to create mode here. We're basically done here. It's 11 o'clock, and we should probably call it. I'm just going to say to anybody who listens to this, is listening to this, will listen to this in the future, go find Milo Jones. It's spelled the way you think it is on the internet, and you will not be disappointed. He's an amazing artist. He does great work. Glenn, thanks a lot for coming tonight and being here and keeping me company. I was lonely. Really, I was lonely. I was so lonely.
Well, you're lonely?
I'm very lonely.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. But I hope I see you next week. If you're around, we'll plan something a little bit more public. This is very much a you and me kind of podcast. Let's like stay on let's stay on Discord and just listen to Genesis all night. Can we do that?
Do that a little bit longer. I should be working on homework, but for you, anything.
On that note, we're going to end the stream. Good night, Twitch peoples.